Aloha! So this is Garden Z. Now Garden Z is the entire crater. It's the crater bottom, the floor here, and we've just got all kinds of projects and ideas and playthings. So this video is sure to be updated in the future. First thing I'm going to point out is the ancient Carver. We had one expert come in and say that this Carver, because it's in the crater, it had to have been planted technically by the original Hawaiians. So we've kept all the Carver that we have. We've got a few of them, and we've given each one of them a little zone. So one of the maintenance activities is with a kama to weed around the Carver. And I take out the weeds there so that the Carver grows good. And the other aspect is, once the weeds are out, is to put soil in here. We always give these ones nice fresh buckets of soil. And so this is a great one, a great maintenance project, and it's a kama project. No slashing, because we don't want to accidentally hurt the Carver. Now, other maintenance activities for this is that big tree in the background. We have Mamaki, which is a Hawaiian healing herb. It's which is great in teas. We have it growing wild in the crater, so we're really wanting to do more work in actually letting them blossom and letting it be Carver, Mamaki, and certain other really cool plants that we're having in the crater. Because of the accommodation here, Pukahale, which is our latest creation made of recycled materials, we're doing all kinds of little landscaping projects. Here, we're making another garden in this area. This is going to be our future moon garden. And one day I'll make a video about that to explain what moon garden means. But this is one of the first trees that we planted to start setting the tone for it. And this is a mountain apple tree. So one of the maintenance activities for this one, just like with the Carver, is to come in with a kama, weed, fine weeding, at the bottom, the base of the plant to pull out the weeds, and then we put fresh soil and compost in there, and to give it a round every few months is what we usually do, about 3 months or so. We give that a nice little maintenance round, and that's a perfect job for a volunteer who likes to do the fine work. This is the far slope of the crater. One of the things we did, because there were many weed plants and trees growing here, is that we cut down the weeds, and then we thought, well, we've got to replace it with something, so we put bamboo, and we've also put these different decorative red plants, so that when we're outside of the crater at the other side, we can look across, and eventually this slope is going to be red, and that will give depth and perspective to when you look into the crater. Because one of the tough things over the years has been to get really good depth shots. Like if you pan around and you see, we're in the bottom of a volcanic crater, and it's really hard to get perspective because everything's green. So by providing a little bit of color, it allows us to start doing some macro landscaping. But as you can see, this is a huge project. Now the red plants are growing, and I expect in about 6 months' time, this should be really nicely red. Other things that we do in the crater is filled with bananas. Bananas are a great pea plant, so they're excellent. Everyone, you can always encourage to pea on the bananas. Now, the maintenance activities for these, we just give them mulch, regular mulching and everything like that, and keep an eye on them. You can see this one is about to put out some bananas. There's some babies right there, and a few months, there should be some good ones coming out there. So the whole bottom of the crater is where we concentrate most of our bananas. And it's always a nice thing to keep an eye out as you're coming in and out of the crater, is if there's any bunches coming up, to harvest them. Oh, and the strange way of harvesting a banana is to cut down the whole tree. Then you cut your bunch off, and then you use the tree for mulch, and it breaks down. It's just amazing. Doesn't make weeds or anything. The root bulb is where the new plants will grow up, and they'll send new baby bananas right here out of this big massive bulb. So the nice thing about keeping the bananas down in the crater is bananas do harvest a little bit of water, and so they can make a mosquito issue. So it's something that you want to keep an eye on, but when we have it in the crater, it allows us to keep it under control a bit. So the other maintenance activities are basically this area here is where we want to have a food garden. This area here, where things that grow that we're going to eat, that we're going to enjoy. This bushy stuff, not trees, because we don't want to shade you guys out too much. But this far slope here, one of the weeding projects is we want to weed the slope very intensely. And one of the ways to weed the slope with the Carver when you're doing really intense weeding is you have to go really, really low. Really, really low. And you're basically going down to that rock level. Carver is the best with a machete. It tends to hit rock. Basically what we're trying to do is weed this entire area, but pile all the weeds up into around this area here. So pile them up, there's a hole in this area here. We pack all the weeds in, so one of the great volunteer projects is to devastate this slope here. Pack it all here because we want to plant a tree here. Every time you put the weeds down, you can take cardboard, the cardboard that we have in the recycling zone, pack it over, let it break down. Then put more weeds on, let it break down. Eventually, we want to put a really good tree here, right here, because that will also act as a protector for the hut. There's one ohia tree which is about 200-300 years old on the slope. That's the only tree that we built the hut out of the fall path, but as a final insurance, we want to plant another tree here. The main focus of this time in the crater is to create a Garden of Eden on this side. This is a private zone. You're in a little bowl. You can decorate and put food plants and put decorative plants and just make your own little world here because it's your own little private zone. And with volunteers and with anyone who's living here, it's a great opportunity to make their own little world. It is the most private spot on the property, and so it's really very, very enjoyable. All right, I think that closes that video for now. Thank you.